Hi, very good afternoon to you. I'm Dr. KISHORE Vaangal again, and I propose the State of the Union. Today I will speak on a matter of much contemporary signification. The issue is all about corporate governance in turbulent times. Since circa 2006 or 2007, the global economy has been on a tailspin. It's actually a reenactment of the 1925, 29, 35 Great Depression. It is just that in the Internet of Everything age, it has been cushioned, and I surmise that it will play itself out till 2022 globally. Nonetheless, in these turbulent times, corporate governance can be an efficacious tool to manage enterprises in a perceptive, prudent, and perspicacious manner. I will walk you through certain cardinal precepts, and if these precepts are followed by the boards of corporations, they will do very well for themselves, and certainly they will last out till 2022, and then can capitalize on the fact that they have had the wherewithal to last out going forward into the future. First things first, for the next 4 to 5 years, boards will have to seriously engage in developing a concrete plan. A plan that would for sure have to be based on the realities of the day, on what the realities of the day are. Whilst the number of employees are growing, whilst employees have greater demands in terms of compensation, and various other facets are also in a way hurting corporate growth, like as an exemplar, vendor management issues have been very contentious across geographies. And in almost all the verticals, whether it's sales, marketing, human resources, production, operation, maintenance, so on and so forth, there is a lot of controversy. Now, the way forward is to have the vertical heads develop a clear plan as to how they're going to combat the future, as to what techniques are going to be adopted, how they are going to do it, how are they going to eventuate it into reality, and what are the kind of resources they require for doing that. And at the level of the board's main engagement ought to be dovetailed to ensuring that the resources are there for the various vertical honchos to see through the next 4 or 5 years. So planning for what is called anticipatory leadership is the key essence for survival. Once the planning is done at the vertical level, then the next step would obviously be to bring forth a certain amount of organizational ability. And organizational ability would work both at the level of the vertical and at the level of the corporation. There should be clear benchmarks, very, very clear benchmarks at both levels, so that at any point in time, either the vertical head or the board can realize where they are and what they have to do to provide for any remedial action if required. Now, the whole issue of organizational abilities is something so crucial at this point in time because it involves the entire harnessing of the human capital. Human capital issues are crucial at this point in time, and keeping the employees motivated is a pivotal aspect of facing the present and the future, especially in these turbulent times. And to the extent that corporations succeed in this aspect, To that extent, they will ride over these turbulent times. A third and a core aspect is that of directing. Directing per se should have a change in terms of the style of leadership. Instead of ensuring that a line and staff organization is present, the best thing for any board to do is to get into a cooperative form of leadership wherein the board cooperates with the various vertical honchos, and the various vertical honchos in turn cooperate with the staff who report to them, so much so that eventually a lot of cohesiveness is evolved. When this cohesiveness is evolved, it will translate into a simple fact that unity is strength. And instead of various employees in the board, using their strengths in various directions, it will all be focused towards one direction, and that is to beat these turbulent times. Given the rate at which corporations are closing down across geographies, given the rates at which people are sizing down, and so on and so forth, these certainly are very challenging times. And as long as and until cooperation exists, these times can certainly be seen through. After all, we have witnessed such times in the past as well, and so we just need to learn from the lessons of the past and apply it sensibly towards facing the present and the future. So the fourth concomitant point is that of staffing. Now, staffing will have to take a completely different hue in terms of facing these turbulent times. And in a sense, staffing should incorporate aspects of multitasking. Given the fact that the resources are few, and with the cooperative mindsets, the board should ensure that employees perform 2 or 3 functions and that they are motivated for that. One of the ways to motivate them to do that is by following the premise of compassionate capitalism, because compassionate capitalism essentially is all about inclusive growth, and when inclusive growth happens, it becomes a people's victory, it becomes an employee's victory. The raison d'etre of the corporation is the employee, the prime stakeholders, the vendors, so on and so forth, and therefore it will harness all the strengths towards the right direction. Given the fact that even though we are in turbulent times, competition remains intense. So we have to deal with the competition with lesser resources, and that makes it all the more challenging. Now, this is true across verticals, whether it is a small or a medium scale enterprise or a large multinational or a transnational corporation. All these facets will be at play. Only thing is the degree of play will be higher. In larger corporations, it would have a much different connotation than a smaller corporation. But the fact of the matter is, it is there for them to face, and the board will have to face this, and so also the vertical heads will have to do it. They will have to work as individualized corporations and ensure that they follow the adage that what is good for the company is good for them and not vice versa. Cooperating is the essence of the game, and if corporations decide that they will go forward in a united manner, it would have to start from the top down. So the board would have to be proactive at this point in time. The boards will have to engage in serious discussions. The boards will have to cut all barriers and ensure that everyone in the organization is treated alike and that everyone in the organization is motivated to outperform, that there is a performance appraisal system which honors the content of a man's character and his ability to work as opposed to anything else. So such paradigms will actually help the corporation face these most challenging times with a lot of elan. And when this is done, a system of reporting will have to be part of it, in the sense that the boards will have to jettison the line and staff method of reporting, and instead they will have to indulge in exercises of multiple reporting sources, so that at every point in time they are sensitive and sensitized about what exactly is happening, which actually will enable them to lead from the front. The fundamental issue is that reporting should be made a pleasant exercise. It should not be made an exercise in irrational experience, and which leads me finally to the core aspect, and that is that of budgeting. And here the boards have to lead by example. This is a time when everyone, everywhere has to lead a parsimonious existence, because resources are scarce and are becoming scarcer. The fact of the matter is, the economy will play its downturn for the next 4 to 5 years, and we'll all have to withstand that. So being parsimonious about our expenditure, being sensible about our income generation, and budgeting prudently would ensure that the boards enable the corporations to be one-up in the game, and eventually they will be one-up in the marketplace after 4 to 5 years. Thank you very much, and I hope you guys enjoyed this elocution. I'll be back again very soon. Take care till then.